Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything College Basketball, presented by the Applied Right Painting Services. I'm, of course, your host, Josh Burton. As always,
I'm, of course, your co-host, Peyton Burton.
Tyler Cook's back with them again, guys.
And if you've noticed, we've talked it up for a week now, fellas. We are live and in living color, not only on Facebook, but look at this. We're here in the Premier Giant Studios.
Just look at it.
Look at this place, fellas.
Just look at it.
Doing our first live edition and our first collaboration with Premier Giant Productions. Fellas, we are now into March. We are now into the month that matters, and we are now into the madness beginning. Peyton, Tyler, what do you think about it?
Well, first of all, I'm cold as hell. It's cold as balls out here in Indiana. This Indiana weather is almost confusing as their basketball team. So a lot of crazy stuff happened this week, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, the craziness kicked off right after we finished our podcast last week with that Michigan State game. That was a pretty fun one to watch once we got done rolling live off that. But we got some good stuff to talk about. You know, it's cool to be here and be live. It's a different setup, but we're not sitting at my kitchen table or in a bedroom here. We got the cameras rolling, and it's a pretty cool experience. So we'll just continue and keep going off of this, guys.
Yeah, look at us too right now. We're in matching team uniforms, should you say?
Yeah.
And we're March, fellas.
March,
yeah. We are now, as of today, we are 2 weeks outside of Selection Sunday. 2 weeks from today, 68 teams find out their destiny, and probably another 5 or 6, their dreams get crushed. That's on the bubble. Fellas, we are in for, is there a better month in the year, especially for people like us who do this? Is there a better month inside the calendar year than the month of March?
No, not at all. This is absolute best it gets.
Absolutely not. You know, we're from Indiana. 49 other states, it's just basketball. It's a different breed over here, guys. This is what we live and breathe for. We've been playing the game since we could walk. This is what we live to watch, guys. I mean, it's the college basketball is our niche, and we love this stuff. And this is the time that we really get excited on it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned about Indiana, this being just more than 49 other states. It's just basketball here. It's different. like I said, we're going to change the slogan. Here in Indiana, the month of May means something because the Indianapolis 500. Not this month, fellas. The month of March and into early April, we're doing basketball, college basketball.
College basketball.
We got lots to talk about. We say this every week, but what a crazy week it was in college hoops.
Crazy.
You had upsets. I feel like half the top 25 fell. Took upset losses.
One way or the other. Yes, somebody took a bite.
You had crazy moments, revenge games. We'll get into that all and more. It's kind of jostling for position. We watched the UFC fights last night.
Yeah.
Seen Ben Askren put a headlock on somebody.
Bulldog choke.
Bulldog choke. Peyton, what's that make you think of?
That makes me think of our buddy Conrad Cushman's podcast. Conrad Cushman is the host of Everything Pro Wrestling podcast. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. And you can find that show on Anchor, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and all other podcast hosting sites. He also has a YouTube channel, so go to youtube.com and in the search bar type in Everything Pro Wrestling and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, do Conrad a big favor. Shout out Conrad. I know you're probably watching right now. Conrad, from day one, we say he's our sister site. Take a lot from him. We work together. Conrad does great work. He just had a hell of a Q&A podcast on his last one. Conrad does a lot for you, Conrad, my good sir. We're doing our best for you, my friend. Another person, Peyton, that we want to help out as we get ready to move on to the recaps. Wayne Emberton, Real Life Music Crew, go ahead and hit that thing. We'll see you guys back. Recaps.
Trying to live the good life, living the dream without a care in the world. I know it takes time, but I'm ready for the things I deserve.
Hey, and like we said, Wayne and his music, Real Life Music Crew, check them out. Find them on, was it Bandcamp? Their latest album they have out. Good stuff. Support Wayne like you support Conrad. Wayne was on a couple weeks ago with us. Great stuff. Also, another side plug, our other friend, Greg Peterson. Greg, I hope you're watching, my friend, out there doing your thing out in Las Vegas. Gave us a big boost a couple weeks ago. Last week, actually, with that interview. Well received. Fellas, we mentioned it in the top of the program here. Recaps. These games this past week, as we move closer to March, now that we're in March, but we're that much closer to, conference championships being decided. We're in the race for conference tournaments, NCAA seeding, all that good stuff. Game of the day yesterday, rematch game. The Kentucky Wildcats going in to Knoxville, to Thompson Bowling Arena, to play a team that's kind of on the ropes, that was number one for a lot of the year, kind of on the ropes in a way, and not really playing their best basketball. Kentucky coming off of an iffy game that they squeaked by against Arkansas on Tuesday. Kentucky, though, 2 weeks ago, smashed Tennessee in Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
But that time they had Reed Travis. Yesterday, the Cats rolled into Knoxville, sans Reed Travis, and the roles reversed. Tennessee put a beat down on Kentucky that they probably haven't, honest to God, they haven't seen since the Duke game. Tennessee dominated the Cats on the boards. Tennessee dominated them to loose balls. Tennessee did everything to Kentucky that they wanted to, essentially. Real quick before we kind of break it down in depth, what's your guys' initial reaction to the Volunteer blowout of Kentucky yesterday?
My initial reaction watching the game, that Tennessee came out motivated. They were seeking revenge for that blowout loss in Kentucky. And you mentioned it, they was number one for a long time, long time. Beat Gonzaga. That was one of their big ranked opponents they beat. They've only played 3 against Gonzaga. They won that and then got blowed out by Kentucky, and then got beat by LSU. So they're 1-2 in top 25 matchups.
You forgot somebody.
Oh, yeah, the Kansas. They lost to Kansas.
How can you forget them?
I'm so sorry.
Jesus
My bad.
Christ.
I'm sorry, okay? You make mistakes, okay? But I forgot about Kansas. But they got some top 25 matchups, not doing so well. They're actually 1-3, my bad. But, so yeah, they came out seeking revenge, and they got it. So that was my initial reaction. Crazy.
I thought Tennessee would pull this out, especially without Reed Travis being there. But I didn't expect it to be in this type of fashion. Tennessee came out there. Grant Williams redeemed himself in this game. He kind of got ragdolled at Rupp. You know, he kind of got beat on a little bit. I mean, but without Reed Travis there, they didn't have that force. You know, they didn't have that power guy to kind of, you know, give him the extra bump and left and rights and stuff like that. So Grant Williams really showed out. And then we had Jordan Bone.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If you
Yes.
listened to the first initial program we had about the game of the day of Rupp, we talked about Jordan Bone. He didn't really, I mean, he did well that game, but it wasn't the production that he gave the team this time. Now, Travis Reed had nothing to do with Jordan Bone. Jordan Bone went out there and took it to him. He led the pack. He kept the Vols in line and checked the whole game. He did everything he needed to do to help this team to get this W, especially a 71-52 win.
Yeah, and Jordan, I think, went for 25, 26?
27 points.
27. And if you watch the game, the Cats couldn't contain him. I mean, it was as bad as a trio between Ashton Hagans, Tyler Hero, Keldon Johnson. That's as bad as that trio has played since early November when the Cats were finding their way. They were awful yesterday. And they play what we used to like to call Olay defense, meaning you're not trying to stop the progression of a guy like Jordan Bone coming downhill. You're not trying to check him coming off of ball screens. You're not trying to check him off handoffs. They're just basically, he turns the corner, he's coming downhill at you, we'll just let you go by. Hopefully one of our bigs block your shot. And he's pulling up. Early in the game, Tennessee, they say the art of the mid-range is lost. Don't tell Tennessee and Rick Barnes that, because they hit mid-range after mid-range after mid-range yesterday on the Cats. They just pull up. Kentucky's big sag off. I think they're coming to the rim. Nah, we'll hit a 16-footer over you. Jordan Bone playing outstanding yesterday.
11 from 15 from the field.
Yeah, he was. Remember the stat?
Flawless.
If you guys remember from the first matchup a couple weeks ago, we talked about it on the YouTube channel that in Tier 1 games, meaning games against teams that are in the upper echelon of the nation, Jordan Bone was shooting 48% from three. It was an incredible clip from three.
Yeah.
And the first matchup, Kentucky, he led the Vols with 19, but Kentucky really kept him in check. Yesterday, Jordan Bone said, nah, not today, not in my home gym. And he came out with a vengeance and a fire, and Kentucky just couldn't match him. The backcourt of Kentucky could not match Jordan Bone, and to me, that allowed Admiral Schofield to get going. That allowed Grant Williams to do his work. That allowed the Turner kid. Jordan Bone is kind of that straw that stirs the drink, if you want to say, for the Vols. Yeah. And he took it to Kentucky. He started that rally. Every time Kentucky would start to make a run, Jordan Bone makes a play. Yeah. And his ability to read off ball and defense is underrated too, because on ball he's a fine defender, but he's so much better reading off the ball. Like if a side ball screen, he's opposite side. His help side's so good that he drops over and anticipates a pass.
Yeah, Grant Williams played well, 24 points. Jordan Bone, 27 points. You mentioned Admiral Schofield. He only had 7 points.
0 from 6 from 3.
0 from 6 from 3. He only had 7 points. That's crazy. He did have a monstrous dunk on Nick Richards, right? So, yeah, that was incredible. That was a great dunk. But you mentioned Jordan Bone. What's crazy about that, he did all of that, 27 points, against Ashton Hagans.
Yeah, and
my question to you is what's wrong with Ashton Hagans right now?
Dude, I think it's something. It's not his physical talent, Tyler. We know, like a kid, and maybe it's because he's a freshman. He's still young. He's like 18. He's still young, but it's like the good Ashton Hagans locks down anybody in the nation. The bad Ashton Hagans we saw yesterday, and then we saw here pretty much lately, is a kid that if the ball is 2 inches from him, he doesn't even want to dive for the loose ball. The good Ashton Hagans pick you up 94 feet and force you in. He'll have 12 steals. It was the bad Ashton Hagans yesterday. And I don't know. It's more mentality than it is physical skill set. I don't know. It's just, what are you going to do? You can't force the kid to dive on the loose ball. You can't force the kid to get up after somebody and not make silly fouls. I don't know what to do.
It's the intangibles that he possesses that he needs to do consistently. Like you mentioned, he's an 18-year-old kid. You know, you're in front of X amount of people on the road, a team that hates you.
Yeah,
you know,
no
this is one of the biggest rivalries in the conference. So there's a lot of factors that play into this. I mean, we got to remember, we love this game, but these kids are young.
Yeah.
I mean, if I walked out in front of 20,000 people, I guarantee it, I couldn't shoot the same percentage from the line that I could if I was in there by myself. It's a different beast. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, any kind of competition thing, if you got a heated group of people behind you, it changes the way you play. Now, it's like Tyler Hero. Typically on the road, he is a killer.
Well, we call him the road warrior.
Yeah, he's the joker he's the villain. You know, he loves it. But let's see here. He went 0 for 5 from 3. Only had 6 points. He got 6 rebounds, but his offensive production wasn't there.
No.
Higgins, he only had 5. PJ Washington, 13 points. You know, he's been killing it as of late, and he got shut down. Nick Richards, he did good for having to step up to the starting position. 8 points, 7 rebounds. What more could you ask for a guy that usually comes off the bench?
Right, and he got in foul trouble, him and EJ. I thought him and EJ played hard, not necessarily smart, but they played hard. And the only other one that matched that was Emmanuel Quickly. I thought Emmanuel Quickly played really well for the Cats. The only one that really hit some shots, to be honest. And to be honest, there's nothing you can do about hitting shots.
No.
Sometimes it's just not your day, okay? And the Cats were cold. I seen a stat where shot clock, the Cats, when they took a shot between 13 and 20 seconds in the shot clock, they shot 14%. This thing on Twitter does advanced metrics, said that's as bad as they've ever seen. But conversely, when the Cats took a shot between 20 and 30 seconds or whatever, 20 and 26, whatever, that their percentage went up to 62, and they said that's as good as they've seen. So it's a tale of when they shot early in the shot clock, it was a bad shot, and then they just weren't hitting. And when they worked the ball from side to side, got the ball down to the paint, got a kick out, their percentage skyrocketed. But sometimes you can't do nothing but hit shots, but you can control your effort. I thought the Cats were just lazy yesterday. Tennessee punched them in the mouth and kept punching. And normally, we've talked about it. This Kentucky team in the last 2 months have showed you can punch them all you want, and they're going to throw back even bigger haymaker. The Vols threw one too many yesterday and knocked them out. Tyler, I'm going to give you some credit. I don't remember if you remember saying it on Thursday on the YouTube show.
I think I know what you're talking about.
When we were kind of talking previewing this game, you said that game, the first game for everybody who remembers, that first game was so physical and they let so many calls go that you anticipate that yesterday was going to be the refs will take more control, whistles. And within the first 5 minutes, it was whistle here, whistle there on both teams. And the refs really made sure that it didn't get out of hand like last time. And I think that hurt. Obviously, not having Reed Travis to bang on Grant Williams hurt, but I think it hurt the flow of the game, even though Kentucky jumped out to 6-0 lead. So I'm going to give you credit. You called out to a T yesterday, and I made the mention to Peyton. We were watching the game together, and I looked at him 3 or 4 minutes in the game when I think the foul total was like 3 Kentucky, 3 Tennessee.
It was quick. They jumped on quick.
I was
they
like,
were trying to get
because PJ got 2 fouls and sat out. He missed like 13 minutes of the first half.
10 minutes,
2
something
fouls.
like that, yeah.
And I'm just like, man. But Tyler, I'll give you credit. You called that to a T, my friend.
Guys, I don't play for Washington, if you notice. Feeling like a wizard. It's continuing to happen. My bank on it. 3 in a row. Doing this. You know, last night we're watching the fights. Calling stiff before it happens. I don't know what's going on. Something's clicking. The madness is going on inside myself. So what is one of the stats that I love to focus on?
Rebounding.
Kentucky got beat on the glass. It was only by 3, but they got beat on the glass.
And that's important because
39-36.
That's important because we've lauded how well Kentucky rebounds, especially on the offensive end. And for a team to beat them on the glass is a big deal. And you just didn't see it. Like I said, the trio of Higgins, Keldon, Hero were as bad as I've seen them in months.
Yep.
And Tennessee took advantage. Jordan Bone was outstanding. And it's another thing you can tell in effort-wise. There's no reason. I can't think of your first name, but Fletcher, the white boy from Tennessee, my friend, I'm not trying to be offensive here. But there's no reason to let a kid like Fletcher get 4 or 5 offensive rebounds on you when you're a team like Kentucky. That's all effort. He wanted the ball more. Did that one play, and now this sums up the game as far as a Kentucky standpoint yesterday. Kentucky started to kind of reel the game back in, got it down to 12, 11, something. Putting a run together. Tennessee's late in the shot clock. Fletcher, they throw the ball to the Fletcher kid out in the wing. There's like 3 seconds left shot clock. He fumbles the ball, gets on the loose ball before anybody, kicks it to Grant Williams, who jumps out to the corner 3, hits a 3. I'm like, that just sums up the game and the night for you right there.
Yeah, that's not the one that really annoyed me. The one that really annoyed me was when the ball was in the corner. It was after a missed shot by Tennessee. It was off a missed shot by Kentucky. And the ball was in the corner, and Ashton Higgins was right there. And you know what I'm talking about. Ashton Higgins was right there. He could have grabbed the ball and got the offensive rebound. He just looked at it. Like, what are you doing? Like, I get you're 18, you're young, you're a freshman. But if you're not going to play hard, then you shouldn't be on the floor.
It was a terrible performance.
There was a lot of factors going into this game. The reason Tennessee won and Kentucky lost. One of them being Reed Travis was out because P.J. Washington got in foul trouble, got 2 quick fouls, sat out a lot in the first half. So that was a key factor. Nobody really played well for Kentucky. P.J. Washington was the only player for Kentucky who was in double figures, 13 points. Hero didn't play well as I thought he would. He was one of my keys. If he could play well, be the word warrior that we've known he is. He didn't play well. He didn't shoot the ball well. So it was a lot of factors. The effort wasn't there. That was probably the most important.
Yeah, I think that's just the effort wasn't there. Tennessee wanted it more. I mean, you heard Rocky Top 50 times, and I'm so weird about that because I obviously, being a Kentucky fan, can't stand Tennessee. But I love Rocky Top. I just hate when they play it on us. That means they're smacking us, and Rocky Top. But no, they deserved it. And I put it in the Facebook group. All credit to Tennessee. They smacked
You got to
Kentucky
give it,
around.
you got to take it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes Big Brother's got to get knocked down, right?
Yeah.
We heard that before.
Yeah. Shout out to Kamar Usman there, and
Yeah, buddy.
welterweight champion in the UFC. But yeah, and you can't take anybody who tries to take whether because of foul differential. I made it abundantly clear at halftime because I kind of see some rumblings. Oh, well, they didn't call this. Kentucky's getting away with this. Tennessee's. I'm like, shut up. At halftime, fouls were 11-11. Kentucky shot 16 free throws. Tennessee 14. It's about damn even as you can possibly get. Shut up. Fouls were fine.
Yep.
You miss some, you get some. It happens. Kentucky got their ass whooped yesterday. Plain and simple. Does it hurt them?
No.
The conference race, it puts them behind Tennessee, LSU. But other than that, the Cats will be fine. Probably, maybe a good thing for them to refocus some last couple games going
You need a
conference
wake-up
tournament.
call this time of
year.
year.
It could be a good thing. So, all credit to Tennessee. I was right on the YouTube show, wrong on our predictions.
Same.
It's the Cats' first loss of the season, being the game of the day.
Oh, yeah.
5-1, no big deal.
I got one.
But
Moving on. We had a game last week. We kind of alluded to it while we were doing the podcast. And, boy, did any of us, because we all picked Michigan, did any of you see Michigan State going into Michigan and kind of handling business against the Wolverines?
Absolutely not.
Especially without Nick Ward.
no, not at all. I think we all predicted Michigan to win.
Yeah, I just thought Michigan was too much at home. It's not that I think Michigan State's bad. I don't think any of us think Michigan State's bad.
No.
I just think you obviously lost Joshua Langford about a month ago.
Yeah.
Now you're without Nick Ward, your big guy in the middle. I just didn't see a way that they go into Ann Arbor and take a win, but that's exactly what they did. Cassius Winston is Big Ten Player of the Year candidate. He's on the Wooden Watch for Player of the Year. He's absolutely outstanding for the Spartans, and he needs to be right now.
27 points. 13 of those were from the free throw line. He went 13 for 14. That boy did it. Here's the craziest thing that I've seen. With the type of coach that Tom Izzo is. Michigan State gets the first road win over a top 10 opponent since 1982.
Is that for
1982
real?
on the road, first win over a top 10 opponent.
Good Lord.
For a team in the stature of Michigan State. That's crazy. You don't. They aired it right after the game, and it just blew my mind. I don't understand how that happens.
No, that's
but
me either.
this is just another point for them moving forward that they finally got this monkey off their back.
Well, yeah, they got that monkey off their back. We'll get to another one here later.
It's early in the week.
But no,
Foreshadow.
we mentioned it briefly in upcoming games. None of us picked Michigan State, so credit for that one. And it makes that Big Ten race so wacky, man. It's like there's other conferences, but that Big Ten, arguably, we think is the best conference in America. And you have 3 or 4 teams just jockeying for position. It's like nobody wants it.
You know what that is? Hashtag conference play.
Hashtag conference play. Tyler, here's one near and dear to your heart. The Kansas Jayhawks. Somehow, cue the music staying alive. Well, I say somehow. Every time they lose on the road, realistically, this race, they should be out of the race. As many times they've lost on the road, they should be out. Yeah. But the combination of them kind of holding it together just long enough, and teams like Kansas State, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas Tech, obviously not wanting to win the Big 12 this year. I mean, Kansas is staying alive, and they get their rival, a team that just smacked them 2 weeks ago. They get the revenge game this past week in Allen. Tyler, take it away.
I wrote it right here, keeping the dream alive. You got Lawson going for 18 points, 14 rebounds. Leads the conference in points and rebounds. Remember that, Dedrick Lawson. We have Prism Mitch off the bench. Prism Mitch. If you don't know this guy, go to Twitter, find Prism Mitch. It's the funniest parody page except for like the Andrew Luck one.
And he follows us.
Yes,
he follows us.
Prism Mitch, I got you, buddy. We're on there. I'm getting you out there. We had all this stuff, but here's some of the stuff that went into this game. This was the 900th game played at Allen Fieldhouse. Bill Self probably won 887 of them.
I guarantee it. He's been a lot. Well, no, Roy won a bunch. Roy won. They're split. We'll say they're 450 to 450.
Yes. This was the 197th meeting between K-State and Kansas. Kansas has beat them more times than any other Division I team has beat an opponent ever.
Wow.
Damn.
They have beat them. Here it is. Just to put this in perspective, since 1994, of the 64 meetings, guess how many Kansas has won?
60. God, they've probably won 50.
58.
Jesus Christ.
They have lost 6 games to these guys, and they play twice a year since 1994. What year are you born?
1999.
Okay, exactly. So they've been getting whooped way before you even came along. It's crazy. It's crazy to call when you think of a rivalry, you think of a back and forth clash. This is just ass whoopings year in and year out. So that's why it was such a significant win for K-State a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But then you come back and you realize who Big Brother is. You realize who you are, and you take it back. You put yourself in a position to really lose this Big 12 race. You've done everything that you could possible to throw someone else up there, and then you finally start crawling back. We've had so many intangibles behind the scenes go on. LeGerald Vick, retarded. Aduka Azubuike, all this stuff we mentioned before, but they keep finding ways to win, and it's crazy. I just love it. I love that I've been so pampered as a Kansas fan. I don't realize how good I've got it until this year came along. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just something to see a team have to fight and claw to win. And it's interesting to me talking about the streak. To put this in perspective as well, the conference streak started 2 years before the first iPhone was put out.
Really? It's nuts. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. It's a streak that's unparalleled since the wooden days at UCLA when they were running the Pac-12. It's unbelievable too, and I think I can't figure out quite the storyline I want to tell. On one hand, you have Kansas persevering, winning when it matters, put themselves right in position to win another one when they shouldn't. But on the other hand, you have the storyline that the rest of the Big 12 just obviously does not want to end the streak either, because you've had teams, as we've mentioned, Baylor, K-State, Iowa State, Texas Tech, all of them right there within either in the lead by themselves or a share of the lead, and they all find ways to lose games that they shouldn't lose. And now really, with the result from yesterday with Texas Tech, Kansas beating Kansas State here, the whole jumble, now we're set in a situation where Texas Tech is 1 game up on Kansas with 2 games to go. If Texas Tech doesn't find a way to win these both games, the streak will never end. If you can't do it this year with Kansas, 5 or 6 losses in the conference? 5?
We have 40 points average, not on the floor.
If you can't win the conference this year as another Big 12 team, the streak will go on for eternity. And I said it before the season, before all this happened. When we started the podcast, we were talking about predictions for conference. Yeah. I was asked. I said Kansas will win the Big 12 until the end of time. Yeah. And then the streak, they keep losing. I'm like, oh, God, this might be the year. If Texas Tech, because they're the last hope, if Texas Tech doesn't win these last 2 and Kansas wins out, the streak will never end. It'll never end. We'll have to make a shirt. Never end. I mean,
I'll buy 4 of them.
It's like Hulkamania, man. Running wild, brother. But I wrote notes. I was watching this game. Obviously, it's a big game on Big Monday. Yeah. I wrote a couple notes that KU looks much better. Meaning, obviously, when they're losing streak stuff, they faltered. There's 3-point shots not going in. They're not hustling the loose balls. Whatever. I thought they looked much better. Lightfoot, you mentioned him. Great minutes, and you need somebody like that. In the absence of Azubuike, you need a big who can fill in. He doesn't need to get 12 points a game. He needs 6 to 8. He needs 8 rebounds.
That's his big thing.
Yes, he needs to contest shots. He needs to do the small intangibles. Okay, anything else you get more. If you get 10, 12, 15 points from Lightfoot, then you'll take it and run because you're probably winning the game. Dean Wade, I thought Dean Wade played really good for K-State. I thought he keyed their run when they started to make a little comeback, and Kansas State late in the game kind of went away from him. The Sneed kid from Kansas State started shooting some bad shots. They went away from Dean Wade, and I don't understand why. He's a matchup problem for anybody. He's a big kid that can play back to the basket and can stretch out and hit jump shots on you. That's a matchup nightmare. It's what you see a lot of times in the NBA right now. You have a big kid who can stretch out.
Yep.
The other one, and we just talked about it. KU wins, keeps the Big 12 hopes alive. I'm just going to go on record. If Texas Tech slips up, they've got 2 games left. If they slip up on one of them, it's over with. It's over with.
Yeah.
So
Some streaks are made not to be broken sometimes.
I'll just keep smiling, boys. I ain't
But
saying
one
nothing
thing
yet.
I want to say before we move on, I seen something on Twitter, and you mentioned that Prison Mitch page, and I shared this with you. One of my favorite movies of all time, sports movies, is The Longest Yard, and there's a famous line in there, and it was repackaged for Kansas for Mitch Lightfoot, and it said, "Hey, did you play basketball anywhere?" And it says, "Yeah." And you say, "What'd you play?" It says, "Kansas." It's like, "No shit, you played for Bill Self?" "No, Kansas State Prison." I love that. That's one of my favorite lines in that movie. So
Prison
I thought that was
Mitch,
hilarious.
boys.
Jayhawks, though, I mean, were able to get exact revenge, kind of similar to what Tennessee did to Kentucky.
A lot of revenge games.
Yeah, a lot of, and it's so. Actually, real quick, back to that Kentucky one, I just forgot about it. Well, no, Rick Barnes, since being at Tennessee in what they call revenge games, coming in yesterday was 9-0. Now he's 10-0. That means a coach like Rick Barnes, a coach like Bill Self, Calipari's really good revenge games too. Coaches like that, you can beat them the first time, but you give them time to, get you
Watch the
again.
tape.
Yeah, get you again. You're probably in trouble because they're going to find out, like, we did this wrong. It's time to adjust this. And Rick Barnes is 10-0 now in revenge games.
Hopefully Tennessee don't play Kansas in the tournament.
Well, I mean, it's interesting stat. Bill Self, he got 2 weeks to adjust to Kansas State, gets them back at home, and you see what happens.
Yeah.
Good win for the Jayhawks. Some other games we just want to touch on that were of importance that we thought. Villanova, Marquette, round 2 for them. And Villanova just came off. We thought it was going to be tied up. Villanova loses last week to, was it St. John's? I think it's St. John's.
Yeah.
So it puts it interesting. So Marquette wins this game against Villanova. They go up 3 games in the conference. Big East is over with.
Yeah.
But what happens? Villanova regains their composure, smacks Marquette around a little bit. Now we got the season split between these two. And just like a lot of these other races, we mentioned the Big 12, SEC, ACC, the Big East come down the wire. But luckily for Marquette, they still have that 1-game advantage. But they slip up. Nova opens the door up. But in this game, Nova was able to exact revenge. Marquette just couldn't handle it down the stretch.
Marcus had 25 points. 25.
Yeah, go ahead and remind them of your bank on it.
My bank on it last week that Marcus Howard was going to score 30 points in this game against Villanova. He scored 25. I'm mad. I'm a little bit upset. I'm a little bit salty. It's all good. There's always another try.
Tyler,
Big win for Villanova.
Yeah, Tyler, Villanova's win over Marquette. Does it say to you that because they show up for big games, but like it's not the St. John's ain't a big game, but Villanova's been showing up for the bigger marquee games, and then they get caught by the teams that they shouldn't be losing to. Is this more indicative that, hey, watch out for Villanova, or hey, that they could go out early in the tournament?
I think they'd go out early in the tournament. They lost a lot from last year. They're just not. This isn't the national championship team of last year. They don't have the same pieces. But they had a guy show out this game.
Yeah.
Jermaine Samuels. He dropped 29 points in this game. Huge. He only averages 5.3. So he went out and did it. But Villanova, it's not the same pieces they have. They're in a position to where they're in the rebuild mode, I think.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be a super threat. They may get to the Sweet 16 if they get past the round of 32. But this Nova team's not the impressive team that I've seen of the past 4 years.
No, I agree. But here's the thing that you keep in mind for Villanova is they have a championship pedigree in the last couple of years with Jay Wright. They have some of these kids that played on those teams. And here's the thing. We've seen it in the last 10 years a couple times with UConn. You get hot right now, you could struggle. You get hot right now, go on a run, and win the title. And Villanova plays that style where they'll spread you out and hit threes. And if they're hitting threes, it's a long night. And a lot of times, you just pack it up because it's too much. Villanova's, even with this team now, they're capable of going out hitting 19, 20 threes on you.
They've done that a couple of games. I mean, look at last year in the Final Four into Kansas.
Yeah.
They hit a shit ton of threes, especially in the first half.
They have that adapted kind of NBA style that they're just spreading teams out. Dribble drive. If you don't stop the penetration, they'll get to the rim. And if you do stop it, they have so much movement. It's not just guys standing in the corner or standing on the wing. They run dummy actions for down screens, double curls, slip screens, guys picking and popping. And their offense is hard to stop. And you get hot right now, that's the only time that matters.
It's the perfect time to get hot.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I think they're the team that could go out in the first round, first weekend, or they're a team that can make the run in Final Four. You just don't know what team's going to show up.
We'll see.
They got the recipe for it, but it's just a point of getting it done.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy, speaking of getting it done, we put them for dead last week. They were on the sinking ships, left for dead, and by God, the Indiana Hoosiers with 2 games this week at home against ranked opponents, and this team wins. Was it Tuesday, Wednesday night? They go into double overtime again. Tuesday night, because they played right after Kentucky did.
Yeah.
They go in double overtime against Wisconsin, and they tried to lose it. They tried everything in their power to lose it. They had shot at the end of regulation, took a bad shot. They had a shot at the end of the first overtime, bad shot. They foul a kid. They go up 3. They foul the kid, the Trice kid from Wisconsin, hits 3 free throws, ties up, goes double overtime. They tried everything in their power to lose. They finally, late in the game, double overtime, Romeo finally does what Romeo should have done. In all these late game situations, doesn't settle for a step back 3, doesn't settle for a contested shot, puts his head down, tacks the rim, little sweeping kind of cook thing. Off the glass.
That's a patent, boy. You got to pay me to get it.
Off the glass.
Got a license.
IU knocks off Wisconsin. So what did they do to follow that up? Yesterday, a team that they've already beaten, Michigan State. They beat them in East Lansing. Mm-hmm. Michigan State goes up at one point yesterday by 13 points. Indiana crawls back. They fight back. They keep fighting. They keep fighting. And wouldn't you know it, somehow Indiana beats Michigan State and sweeps them this year. Indiana! What the hell? That's the most mysterious team in college basketball this year.
Let me just say this real quick. I mentioned in the intro that IU is the most confusing team that I've seen in a while. Because it's true. They're the most confusing team I've seen in a while. It's crazy how they beat teams like MSU, Michigan State, and then lose to Nebraska the next night or next 2 days or whatever it is. Indiana has one of the best resumes in the nation.
Oh, dear God.
They got high-quality wins against Michigan State twice. Wisconsin, at Wisconsin. Marquette.
No. Home against Wisconsin. Home.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Home against Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, my bad. Marquette beat them by like 20-something. And then Louisville. Even though Louisville's not ranked, but that's still a high-quality win. They've got 5
According to you.
6... I'm gonna fight you. 6 high-quality wins that could put them in the tournament. They just went on that big-ass losing streak, a couple of losing streaks, and that's the only reason they're still in the bubble watch.
Tyler, have you seen a team that's got, 13, 14 losses ever still find their way hovering around the bubble because of their quality wins?
If we did the mask type of thing here and we covered up the IU symbol and we showed that a team has lost 11 games in a row, there is not a shot in hell that any of us would say, yeah, they're going to make it. But then you uncover. You peel the onion a little bit. You see the wins they got. You see the people that they've performed well against, and you're like, well, maybe. There's a chance. I mean, even on College Game Day, they popped the bubble on IU. I don't understand how a team can be so left and right, up and down. I mean, it's to be a fan. You've probably aged 5 years watching this season.
God, you see all in our Facebook group, guys like Donnie Stroud, Brandon Stevenson, Craig Buck, Joe Turner, all those guys are Indiana fans. You see their emotions. They go from, oh my God, we just lost by 20 to Minnesota, to, yeah, how in the hell did we beat Michigan State? I mean, I don't understand it. It's confusing, but hey, credit to them. And looking at their schedule remaining, they've got Illinois at Illinois, they've got Rutgers at home.
And that's it.
If they win these two, it puts them on a 4-game win streak. They go in the conference tournament, they're going to have to win 4 games to win the Big Ten championship. I think if they can win out against Illinois, Rutgers, if they can make it to the championship game, I'd put them on a 5-game win streak, put them right around 20 wins. Boys, I think they get in the bubble. I think they get in the tournament because the way that the committee works, if you have a team that's like Indiana that's going to bring fans to the tournament, that's going to draw you more revenue, whether it's fair or not, they'll get in over a Furman.
If
It's
they were
just
in
the way
any
it
other
works.
conference other than the Big Ten, we wouldn't have this discussion right now.
No, it's just
Not
the way it
one bit.
works.
Yeah.
Just the way it works.
Because right now, if they win at least 2 games in the conference tournament, they're in. Just because
That's
of their
iffy.
wins.
I think they have to at least
Just
get to,
because of their wins.
I think that it depends. If they only get to the semifinals, I think that they have to have a lot of help. They're going to have some of these other bubble teams that's from mid-majors lose. That takes away a chance of them getting an automatic bid. They would need some other teams from high majors to lose. Indiana needs a lot of work, but most importantly, the first thing they need to do is win.
Yeah.
Now, if they win out and win the conference tournament, it's a guaranteed spot.
Well, obviously.
But they've proven they can do it. I mean, honest to God, they've proven they've got talent to win it. That's the weird thing about them.
You are not. I'm sorry, anybody IU fan right now, you are not going to beat Michigan. They've seen what you've done to State. They've seen what you're capable of. Poole is not going to let this happen.
No.
Michigan, this is their team. This is their conference right now. Purdue, you might. I don't think you're going to get past Purdue either. But Michigan is the team that you have to get, and you're not. I don't think it's possible.
Well, you talk about Purdue. Just think about this. Had they got Purdue last week, we're sitting here with Indiana 3 of the last 4 and 3 wins over ranked teams. I think they're firmly on the bubble right now had they beat Purdue.
Yeah.
If
If they would have.
if.
That's just a mind blowing. The other game, kind of just go over real quick. Tennessee at Ole Miss. Tennessee squeaks one out, but the controversy at the end, there should have been a foul called at the end, or shouldn't have been, however you want to look at it. And Ole Miss people starts throwing trash and debris on the floor. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
Act like responsible adults. And if they're kids, bust their ass. And if they're teenagers that's old enough, or like young adults, snatch them up. What are you doing throwing trash on the floor?
Yeah, there's a thing called...
It's disrespectful. It makes you look bad. It makes your university look bad. It makes the conference look bad. It makes that area of the country look bad. What are you doing throwing trash on the floor?
Yeah, there's a thing called sportsmanship, and being respectful. That's as clear as day as a charge. Clear. Admiral Schofield was standing still. I had to go watch it back after we talked about it on the YouTube show. I had to go watch it back to see what happened. He's standing still, and the dude runs into him. That's clear as day as a charge. What are you bitching about? Are you just making excuses because you lost? Come on now. And the throwing trash is absolutely ridiculous. That shouldn't be in any sporting event, let alone college basketball.
It's embarrassing.
Me and Josh are heated.
The charge, you didn't have to watch it back. His feet were set there. The concrete cured. He was there. Mm-hmm. And what kind of balls do you got to have, being up 2, trying to take a charge on a 3-point shooter? Them are beating off your knees right now. I mean, that is a ballsy play by Schofield. It just shows that he doesn't care. He will do anything he can to get the win, and that is what solidified that. He took away the chance. He took away that offensive possession. He walked up there, he slid under there, and he took it in the chest, and he got up, and he won the game for Tennessee right there at the end of the game. The trash throwing, if you're a student and they catch you on camera for student section, you don't get to come back the rest of the year.
No.
That's bar none. One kid throwing something like at Georgia, you can kind of, you can
isolate
that.
Yeah.
But if you run the tape back and you start catching these kids, there's cameras everywhere. There's camera everywhere in here at the Premier Giant studio. We got cameras everywhere. You want it's just a plug here. So I'm trying to help you out, Noah. But you can't be doing this shit. It just. If I get called a millennial one more time for some of the stupid shit you guys do, I'm going to start whooping somebody's ass. It's ridiculous that you guys want to act like this and get put into this group, just being a little punk.
Yeah,
Obviously,
what they are.
it's punk mentality. It's toddler mentality.
It's crybaby. Oh, I didn't get my way, so let me destroy property, potentially hurt people, act a fool. Just get over it. Because what's the good of throwing trash? The game's over with. It's not like the referee's like, oh shit, you excuse the language, but it's not like, oh God, you threw a water bottle. Let me go back. Actually, you know what? Block.
You know what?
Yeah, you can't.
What are you
change it.
doing?
That's stupid. It's
Stupid.
ridiculous. It shouldn't be in any sport.
God.
Some of these kids don't remember what happened
Oh yeah. I know
in
you're
Detroit when someone threw a bottle of beer at a guy named Ron Artest.
Yeah.
You hit Admiral Schofield in the face with something like that. You got a 6'6", 245-pound athlete coming at you, and you're probably some little chunking piece of shit up there going to get taken care of.
which you deserve.
You don't. People don't understand the repercussions. People sit here on their computers and they talk all this shit all the
Exactly.
time, and they haven't taken any repercussion for it. If something like that happened, by God, you deserve it.
Yeah, it's just
It's ridiculous.
I think we can sum it up. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing for the programs, embarrassing for the conference, embarrassing for everyone. It's ridiculous.
It's embarrassing. Tyler, I know real quick before we wrap up this segment, you got some other games you want to kind of mention.
We'll just do the top 25 wrap up from the week. Sunday, we talked about the Michigan State game. At the time, Villanova was ranked 17th, and they got beat 66-54 by Xavier. Monday, we had Florida State, number 18, hold court against Notre Dame, 68-61. We didn't touch on this, but it happened. Duke got upset by Virginia Tech.
Oh my God!
Oh my
I had that in the notes and forgot all about it.
Zionless
forgot.
Duke. Sorry, guys, you got beat again. America's most hated team. You're
Forgot
the
about them,
Patriots
man.
of
Forgot
the
about it.
of the
Virginia Tech, good
NCAA.
win, and that's another team we talk bad about because I just said that they hadn't showed up in big games.
Yeah.
Credit, bravo, they put it to Duke, spread them
Finally.
out, hit, played good defense.
Finally bought it.
Great win
Yeah.
for the Hokies.
Blackshear Jr. took advantage of him not being there.
Oh God,
yeah,
he
for
was a
sure.
matchup nightmare.
23 points, 10 rebounds. Did you notice this kid? He walks on his tiptoes the whole time.
Yes.
That's just awkward to me.
Yeah, they played real well. I'm glad you mentioned. I had it in my notes too.
I honestly forgot about
I got
that
you,
game.
boys. I got you. It's
yeah,
okay.
there you go.
Cook's carrying us.
No, I won't say that. 21 Buffalo. We talked about them being up and down. They get a win over Akron. Sorry, LeBron, your hometowns keep getting beat up on while you're getting your ass kicked over in L.A. Sorry. Number 22, Iowa. They take a fall here against Ohio State. 90-70.
Yeah.
Ugh, that was
Smacked.
ugly.
That was, we'll get into it too. That's the game that had a little controversy post game.
Yep. Number 4, Kentucky at the time. Took a little stumble here against Arkansas, but they got the win, 70-66. Tyler Hero did everything he needed to do in this game, 29 points. We had number 5, North Carolina. They kept the ball rolling here against Syracuse, 93-85. Colby White again goes off, 34 points.
He's playing so well.
Yep. Tyus Battle from Syracuse, he had 29 on the other side, but it just wasn't enough to get the win here. I'm going to mention it again just because this is just crazy. IU knocks off 19 Wisconsin double overtime. Did everything in their power to lose it, got the win. Wednesday, this is the one that just all week stuck out my mind. At the time, 12-16 Penn State knocks off 17 Maryland, 78-61.
Forgot about
Penn
that
State,
one.
bottom of the barrel. Big Ten. Maryland's right there in the thick of things.
Totally forgot
Hey,
about that
let's
game.
go ahead and say it. Conference play.
Hashtag conference play.
Penn State's another IU-esque team right
Yeah.
now.
That's for
Number
sure.
2, Virginia blows out Georgia Tech. Thanks to Greg Peterson for this because he won me a little money on this. Thank you, sir. Houston, number 8 at the time, goes in there and just waxes East Carolina, 99-65. At the time, Houston's 21-1 overall, but not no more. Texas Tech, number 11, needed overtime to beat Oklahoma State. Man, I needed Oklahoma to get this one. I needed State to get this one for me, but we got some time. 14 Purdue takes out Illinois 73-56. Carson Edwards kind of came and popped me on the mouth a little bit, shut me up. 23 points, 8 of 14 from the field. Good job, buddy. We got number 23 Cincinnati popping in the top 25.
Yeah.
The Bearcats.
They beat SMU 52-59, and Nevada, they won one on Wednesday, but they sure didn't Saturday. 89-73 over UNLV. Thursday, Michigan bounced back from that loss and just puts a whooping on Nebraska, 82-53. Wolford, number 24, kills Chattanooga, 80-54. The Zags, number 1 in the country, showing it. Beats Pacific, 86-66. Hachimura, 27 points. Just keeps it on going. Cal wins. For the first time, it seems like 2006. Yeah. They beat number 25, Washington.
Snapped a 23-game losing streak.
Yep, in the conference.
Yep.
76-73. Cal, I don't know about you. You're just something else.
Talk about them later.
Friday, the only top 25 team that played, Buffalo, again, goes and beats Miami of Ohio. They like beating up that state. 77-69. Saturday, we had LSU slip past Alabama, 74-69.
We've talked about them. Tigers real good.
Yes, they
Final
are.
Four quality good.
For sure. Yeah.
18 Florida State goes and takes out North Carolina State, 78-73, and a pretty close one. 19 Wisconsin comes back and beats Penn State, 61-57. Penn State's been playing pretty well after, including the Maryland pound.
Yeah.
So this was a nice win for Wisconsin to get going. Virginia again, number 2, kills Pitt, 73-49. Kyle Guy, Indiana native,
Yeah.
17 points. He keeps doing everything he needs to do. Purdue again.
Again?
Oh wait, no, I got it messed up here. Sorry.
They beat Ohio State, yes.
That is Ohio State. Never
Yeah,
mind,
they
I
beat
didn't mess
Ohio
up.
State.
Hits me again, Carson Edwards. 25 points. JR, I hope you're watching this. I'm eating my words now. 9-16 from the floor, 4 from 8 from 3. 24 Wofford beats Sanford, 85-64. Fletcher McGee. He's pretty tough, boys.
Great name.
Foreshadowing here. Got number 8 Houston. Suffers their second loss on College game day. University of Central Florida got him one. That Colin Smith from Central Florida had 21 points. They got Taco Fall, who's
Fall,
like
7'6".
he's like 8'13".
Oh my God.
A sidebar too. That's snaps Houston's 33-game home win streak too.
Yep.
Good, but I think that
On College game day.
and it secure. ESPN gave the Golden Knights an 88% chance of making the tournament now too.
Yeah.
And that's nice. Off that, they had 9 turnovers each, so it was a clean game.
Yeah.
But it was tough. Duke, number 3, just goes in there and beats the crap out of Miami, 87-57. RJ and Cam had 19 apiece. And then Texas Tech just smacks me again. Goes and beats TCU, 81-66. I need some help, guys. Just need some help.
Need some help,
And
bro.
that just recaps everything for the week. We're going to take a second and hear from our ad guys from J3X, and we'll be back on the other side
Everything
of it.
Pro Wrestling.
And Everything Pro Wrestling at the same time. We'll be back on the other side of it.
What's happening, College Hoops fans? It is Conrad Cushman from the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast, and I'm here to tell you how you can follow Everything Pro Wrestling. First, go to your Facebook, type in the search bar, Everything Pro Wrestling. Look for our official page with over 1,000 likes, and make sure you give it a like. Also, we have a closed group with over 200 members in it where you can join discussions and talk about anything and everything pro wrestling. We also have a Twitter handle, and that is at EPW Show. And we have a podcast, and the podcast is available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And remember, Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. Now let's get back to talking some college hoops.
Hey guys, Peyton here from ECB. I'm here to tell you about my wrestling podcast that's called The J3X Show. That's only on YouTube. You'll see predictions, pay-per-view reviews, and live streams on there. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Also, go follow the show on Twitter at J3X Show. Ooh, yeah, brother.
Hey, we're back, guys. Premier Giant Studios. We're still here. We're still live. We got some news and recruiting coming up, so I'm going to let Peyton and Josh go ahead and take over this side.
Yeah, real quick. I'm kind of foreshadowed with the Iowa stuff. Iowa, we mentioned it last week, suspends their longtime broadcast dude for making a offensive comment that I didn't take. I think it was taken out of context. So what do? They double down on being soft as a university. They suspend head coach Fran McCaffrey for 2 games after a post-game altercation with an official. But he basically thought that one of these officials from Ohio State wasn't very good. In the hallway after the game, found him and basically told him that, like, you suck. And somebody reported it, this, that, and the other. Iowa doubles down and suspends Fran McCaffrey for 2 games. Iowa's just being soft as a university.
Yes.
Absolutely soft.
Retarded.
Ole Miss fans, we already talked about Ole Miss fans protest last second call. Stupid.
Dumb.
How about this for a funny one, guys? D2 University, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, playing on the road, forgets their road uniforms. They forget to pack probably the most important thing, forgets the road uniforms. So what do? They have to play in the home team's road uniforms. How weird and funny is that? Like, how do you forget as a if I'm the head coach, I'm looking at my equipment manager and be like, dude, you had one job.
You had one
job.
You had one job.
Have you seen how many guys from the NBA go up to the scores table and take their breakaways off and they got their street shorts on?
Oh, my God.
Or they got the jersey on backwards. It's
old school jersey, something like that.
It happens, but not the whole team shit.
Could you imagine? And it'd be funny, too, if the home team's like, no. And you got to play in, like, tank tops and stuff.
Whatever. Street balls. I mean,
dude, that's
half of it is anyway.
You had one job as an equipment manager. That'd be like we come in here today to record and Noah's like, oh, yeah, I forgot your mics. He's like, oh, yeah, I forgot them.
Yeah. We don't have that problem here at Premier Giant Studios.
No, Premier Giant's professional.
They're the real deal.
Kobe, is this interesting? Kobe weighs in on Zion. He says if he's healthy, he should go play. Whatever, we've discussed this. Kobe's got his opinion. I still am in favor of Zion just setting it out. And Coach K said, too, we won't play Zion unless he's 100%. So I think he's kind of protecting himself should Zion not play. We've went over it in depth last week. I still stand by Zion should not suit up for the Blue Devils again.
My man, I agree with him, obviously. Kobe Bryant's my favorite player of all time. Favorite basketball player of all time. He's one of the 2 opinions I wanted to hear about this. It's him and Michael Jordan, just because of how they've played and great legends, all that. I honestly wanted to know their opinions. Now, we got Kobe's. I wonder what MJ thinks.
I'll tell you what he says. Get your ass out there and play, son.
Well, he's a North Carolina alumni. So.
I don't care. He's a competitor. He knows what he's going to do.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
I stand by Zion. Why risk everything? But whatever. If he plays, it's great. He might pop up later in the program, so we'll see. I said we'd skip it, but I think it's newsworthy. Just real quick touch on it since Fortnite's such a popular game. I hate it. But ex-Maryland players sue the Fortnite game over dance claims that they stolen dance from them. Now, we've seen this in other aspects of life from professional athletes and stuff, suing Fortnite saying that they've stolen their dance. Is there anything to this?
I don't even know what dance it was. It's probably stupid as
I'll look it up. You guys keep talking. I'll look it up.
If you take away Fortnite from me, like you did college football, I'm going to riot.
Oh, my God. I'm going to ball my eyes out.
All these
that
people
game's
out here
so fun to play.
God,
bitching
nerds.
and moaning. You said over there, Apex, and you calm down.
Apex legend.
I've played Apex like twice.
You're trying to recruit what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's
you're
why.
You're trying to get us
hold on, right here it says, former Maryland basketball players Jared Nickens and Jalen Brantley are suing the makers of Fortnite, one of the most popular video games in the world, over their usage of the dance the ex-Terrapin players claim they helped popularize. The federal lawsuit, which was filed in court Monday in Maryland, alleges that Epic Games, Inc. is unfairly profiting from the dance referred to as the Running Man Challenge that Nickens and Brantley went viral performing in 2016. Running
Man's been around since the 80s.
Oh, no, I know that, but it's just interesting. I think anybody now that can make money off something, especially if you're a college athlete or student, you're going to try to.
I'll tell you what. The next time I see a cook from any team, any player, I'm suing the university.
Hey, let's just start suing Jay Billis and all from ESPN from stealing our ideas.
Sue the newspaper.
He went word for word, Jay. I got you.
Jay Williams stole mine word for word.
Yeah, the newspaper kind of stole mine.
Dear God. You know how much we love Ken. You know how much we love Ken Palm. Here's some quick Ken Palm stats for you guys. Michigan State leads the nation in assist percentage, 68.4, which basically means that 68.4% of their baskets scored come off of assists, sharing the ball really well. Starts with Cassius Winston.
Ball movement, yeah.
Virginia, should come no surprise to anybody, leads the nation in three-point percentage defense. Their teams are shooting 26.6% from three against them. They are locking down the perimeter.
Not even.
It's that
not
pack
even-
line locking them down. It's ungodly to
Not
play
even
against.
fair.
How about this for newsworthy? Top teams of the decade. The decade meaning 2010 to
2020.
20. Yeah, pretty much. ESPN revealed they put some kind of calculation formula together like they do, and they came up with the formula of top 15, top 12 teams of the decade.
Yep.
Tyler, go ahead in reverse order. Count them down for us.
15 through 11 are the just missed category. We've got Ohio State, Wichita State, which I believe is
Oh, yeah, they had a
worthy,
great-
is
Yeah,
very worthy.
I'd
You got
agree with that.
Wisconsin, Butler, who's very worthy.
Yes, Butler definitely.
Michigan State, they're rounding out the just missed area. We come in at number 10. We got the Syracuse Orangemen coming in at 10. Tied for 8th, Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They have to be on this
Has
list.
to be.
They
They're
just win a
not even
lot, and they
close.
they finally made a Final Four this decade.
And the other tied person on here is Louisville.
Hey, we made it. We
Yeah,
made the
they're not
list.
ranked right now. I mean,
We're
they
not
got a
in
number
trouble.
on this one, but not on the top 25. We got the Michigan Wolverines, number 7.
Yeah, understandable.
Tough. UConn.
Yep.
Can't argue that.
2 titles.
Kemba Walker. Villanova. Can't argue this one either. Number 5.
2 titles.
2 out of 3.
North Carolina.
A title.
How could you not be on this list as North Carolina?
Yeah.
Kansas, number 3.
Same thing in
Yeah,
Kansas.
a couple Final Fours.
Yep. Just last year.
Yep.
Number 2, the Dukies.
Yep, 2 titles.
Love them, hate them.
Titles.
One of the best programs of all time. And the
one.
decade team on this list, controversial.
Controversial.
No, I'm just kidding. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah.
These guys get some of the best recruits in the nation, year in and year out, and it shows on the court.
Consistently winning. Sans, the only real bad year was the 2013 debacle, the NIT, Nerlens Noel.
Yeah.
But you look at them, first year, they make the Elite Eight. Second year, Final Four. Third year, National Championship. Fourth year was the NIT in 2013. They bounced back with a National Championship appearance in 2014, Final Four 2015. And then they've had a couple streaks here. They were bounced in the second round by Indiana.
Sweet 16, stuff
They
like
made
that,
Sweet
yeah.
16s. But all in all, very solid year. Dominant in the SEC. Bunch of wins. Spent a lot of time at number 1. No arguments obviously for me, but I don't really think it's too many arguments from.
No, I agree
From
with
top to bottom, I think this list is pretty spot on.
I think it is pretty good.
You could probably interchange a few from 7 to 4, but it's a beautiful list, and it's a nice list to be on.
Yeah, if you
It just awards winning consistently is what it does.
Yes.
Because you could argue that, oh God, UConn's got 2 titles or Villanova's got 2, but you're also not taking into account and it's not that they've been bad, but you're not taking into account those years or earlier in the decade where they weren't maybe as strong. So
you had Kemba Walker in that Connecticut team, really good one. Who's the other one? Was it Jeremy Lamb? Like,
well, he was
different.
He was a part of it, but he wasn't the star. It was
What's his name?
God, I can picture him
It
too.
wasn't Lamb.
No, I can
I
picture
know he
him.
was on that team.
I can picture him. I'll think of his name here later and just randomly pop up. But
Okay.
I know you got some recruiting news you want to speed race through.
I got a lot of recruiting notes, so I'm going to speed through that real quick. Starting off, SMU has extended an offer to 5-star sophomore Harrison Ingram. Oklahoma hosted 4-star junior Hayden Hefner for an official visit this weekend. 4-star junior Noah Collier is on an official visit for UConn starting yesterday. Duke hosted top 15 sophomore Cam Hayes for an unofficial visit yesterday. Oklahoma State hosted 5-star junior and potential 2019 prospect Isaiah Todd for an official visit.
Shabazz Napier from UConn.
Oh, that's
Shabazz
thank
Napier.
you.
Yep, go ahead.
Beginning Saturday, which is yesterday, obviously, Florida has offered 2021 5-star Devin Askew. Louisville hosted 5-star sophomore Caleb First for an unofficial visit this weekend. 5-star RJ Hampton is only a junior, but he has completed his required courses to skip his senior year and head to college early. So he could reclassify to 2019, which is very interesting.
Seems like more and more people are doing that. And all that is mean they're going back to – people are like, well, how can they leave college early? I found out. Really all it is they're going back to the original class that they started school in. Somewhere along the line they got held back or whatever for academics, sometimes athletics. All it is they're really jumping ahead to get back to the class they were originally meant to be with.
Yeah, and he's down to 5 schools. Kansas is one of them. Memphis, Duke, I think Michigan State, and I forgot the other one. but he has down to 5 schools. USA basketball invites are starting to be sent out. 2025 stars Caleb Love and Namari Burnett has gotten their invitation. And finally, Rocket Watts was signed with Michigan State in Detroit the first day of the regular period in April. So he's going to be starting April.
Yeah, and you mentioned Isaiah Todd real too quick. He's another kid that can thinking about going from 2020 to 2019. A big man. Kentucky just got in on him and offered him, and now they're trying to get him potentially in for next year's class. Yeah. Just kind of something to keep an eye on. Mr. Cook, we have somebody, a big-time sponsor that I know you want to holler to. Somebody you're kind of having a friendly rivalry with, too.
Yep, Mr. J.R. Rose and I have got a little thing going behind the scenes, a little ribbon back and forth. It's all in good fun. But he also is one of our main sponsors, Applied Right Painting Services, residential, commercial, anything you need. JR, I think I saw you doing some drywall work in there as well. If you want me to throw that out there, I'm going to keep doing it. He's got pictures up of his before and after job down in Bloomington. He's doing a wonderful job down there at the facility he's working at. It's commercial, residential, anything you need. The threat continues. Don't use anybody else for your painting services except for Applied Right Painting Services. I got an unsponsored ad. It's going to happen. Circle K, I need you to come on. 86 cents. That's all I need to get a day.
Yeah.
86 cents. I need one Polar Pop, 44 ounces will cover me all day. That's all I need. I've only got 3/4 of this left. But I'm going to take a sip.
Look at the goodness.
Barg's root beer, guys. They don't get no better than that.
Sponsor us, too.
Is Circle K, come on board. Blue Chew. I'm looking for that Blue Chew ad. I've got so many perverted ad reads we could do. Blue Chew, where are you at?
Greg Peterson, help us out.
We need you.
But we're going to take a little pause here. We'll catch our breath while we let a little ad run, and we'll be back on the other side of it.
It's time for our most beloved segment, and that segment is called Shout Out.
Shout Out.
Josh, I'm going to send it to you. Who are your 3 shout outs?
Oh, my Lord. I get to start?
Yeah.
Everybody loves some shout outs, and they get to see my expressions this time.
Yeah.
First time.
Head.
Let's go ahead. Everybody knows my love for the SoCon, Southern Conference. I've been high on them all year. Anybody who's listened and followed along with our journey this year knows my love for the Southern Conference. Tyler alluded to it briefly. He said, I got a little foreshadowing for you. My first shout out, Fletcher McGee from Wofford. Dropped 36 yesterday in their win. 8 of 14 from 3. He leads the D1. He leads the nation or the D1.
Yeah.
For 3-point field goals made, 121. Wofford is second in the nation overall with 3-point percentage. They're shooting like 43%. This team is dangerous come March. I'm telling you. Wofford gets in. We talked about Villanova spreading you out. Wofford will knock down some trays all over the floor, led by a guy like Fletcher McGee. Shout out to you, good sir. My second shout out, we again alluded to it earlier. The Central Florida Golden Knights knocking off Houston on the road, snapping their 30-30 game home win streak. Excuse me. And now with that win, ESPN, like I said, listed them at 88% chance of making the NCAA tournament, led by Taco Fall, 7-6 in the middle. You've got Johnny Dawkins as their coach, the former Duke superstar, former Stanford head coach. UCF's a team to kind of watch out for, a little interesting. Shout out to Central Florida, though. And my third and final shout out, Brandon Stevenson, Joe Turner.
Him? Oh, okay.
No.
I was going to say.
Don't bury my lead here. Craig Buck, Johnny Stroud, Jerry Stroud, anybody that's an IU Hoosier fan, listen up. Justin Smith. I know he's a kid we all give a hard time to, especially those who are fans of him. But he's my shout out for this reason alone. He goes for 24 in the win against Michigan State yesterday. He goes for 12 against Wisconsin. He averaged 18 points per game this week in their 2 upset wins against ranked opponents. Justin Smith came up big. His athleticism is ungodly. He doesn't make the smart play all the time, but he's playing hard. He's scoring the ball. He's going above the rim, dunking on people, getting trash points, hitting a little maybe 15-foot jump shot. He's been key for IU. He deserves the shout out and the praise. So shout out Justin Smith from IU.
Cook, who are your shout outs?
Those were deserving.
Yeah,
I believe
think
it.
so. I like them.
We talk about some stats from previous games. You know, this is our first episode of March. Let's talk about a guy who had a big February coming into this March Madness going on. When you think of Buffalo, if you know anything about Buffalo, you think of C.J. Mashburn. Not in February. Nick Perkins.
Yep.
He had 26 points against Toledo, 27 points against Kent State, 25 against Akron. His kid's not a starter. He's doing this off the bench.
It's crazy.
Off the bench. Now, we talked about a guy who had a big game off the bench. This guy had a huge month off the bench.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Perkins, and at Buffalo. Well, they want 21st now?
Yeah, and they're just kind of hanging around.
98% of this shout outs because I like the dude's name. A guy from Appalachian State on Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to get this one out. Ronshad Shabazz. Shabazz. Look it up. I ain't bullshitting you guys.
That's a great
real
name.
life name. Thursday had 47 points.
Jeez.
The thing that stuck out to me was he went 10 for 17 from deep. 10 for 17.
Boy, that is stroking.
He shot better
City.
in one game than Carson Edwards did all last week.
Oh, my God, here it is.
Here we go.
Here it is again.
Here it is.
Jared, I'm sorry. Here it is again.
Foreshadowing again, guys. Just roll with me here.
I got you. I feel you.
Another guy. You know, I like the little teams. I like all this stuff, but I have to do it. It's time. Leader of the conference of points. Leader in the conference of rebounds. None other. Lawrence Jayhawk, Kansas boy, Dedrick Lawson. Did it again. Continues to lead this team in the absence of so many players. No excuses. You got to play with the hand you're dealt, and he has become the ace in our pocket. Dedrick Lawson showed out. He had 20 points and 15 rebounds in the win against Oklahoma State when Oklahoma State was lighting our asses up in the first half.
He's a big piece in that wheel.
Wonderful piece. He is the X factor on the team. No matter what, he is always focused on. Always this, always that, and he still gets the job done. So shout out to all three of my guys, including Dedrick Lawson especially. Peyton, let's see what you got.
You know, great shout outs. Lawson, he is a beast, and I mean that as a compliment so I don't get in trouble, you know. But
We're not going to suspend you, I promise.
okay, thank you.
You're on a 6-day suspension. You can't come back till Sunday.
Oh man. But my shout outs are actually I have 4 of them. I almost had 5, but I take one off. My first shout out is Jordan Bone from Tennessee, who had 27 points in the win against UK. This dude went up against Ashton Hagans and showed out. Ashton Hagans, one of the best on-ball defenders you'll see in this college game, for this year at least. He showed out. Shout out to you, brother. My second shout out, Rutgers from the Big Ten.
Yeah,
you know, they
interesting.
upsetted Iowa, Tyler Cook's Iowa Hawkeyes 86-72. But that's not the reason I'm shouting them out. The reason I'm shouting them out is because that was their first road win against a ranked opponent in 11 years.
That is nuts.
11 years.
Because you think about that prior, they're in the Big Ten now, so you would think getting ranked road wins, at least opportunities are there. And then you're in the Big East beforehand. Remember how stacked the Big East was?
Yes.
Syracuse.
Tough.
Notre Dame was good.
Louisville.
UConn, Louisville, Georgetown here and there.
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
That conference was murderous.
It was dangerous.
Villanova.
Yeah.
Murderous.
It was the deepest
Marquette
conference
was there.
Providence
all
was
the time.
Yeah, Marquette, Seton Hall, and this is their first one. Jesus.
That was probably one of the best conferences.
Well, just think of that. You know, the Michigan State was their first road win against the top 10 opponent and since '82.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's even worse. I mean, that's a beautiful stat, but it just shows how hard it is to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
My third shout out is, I love this name, it's Ryan Swan from Air Force. Who
Swan.
had he had 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 steal in the 80-72 win against Wyoming. Shout out to you, brother. And my final shout out.
Brother, what's this brother stuff you're on today?
I love brothers.
Brother.
You love brothers.
Brother.
You got some Blue Chew in you? What's going on?
Oh my God.
Sponsor us, Blue Chew.
Bing.
My final shout out is Utah State, who upsetted Nevada 81-76. Utah State got their first win against a top 25 team since 2007, 1 year after you graduated, or before you graduated.
Before.
That was incredible, and obviously they stormed the court, which...
Jesus. Oh my God.
You want to talk about that now? Or?
Yeah, let's just get into
Okay.
it. You've already,
I get it.
the court storming has got to stop.
It's dumb, and plus what happened after that. One of Nevada's players,
Jordan
Caroline, thank you for giving me his name. He punched like a fire extinguisher glass or something like that, and then him and a security guard or something like that got into it in the tunnel. It's ridiculous. I don't get storming the court. I get if you're like,
There's an exception to the rule. If you're a small team or a team that's been on like an incredible losing something that you haven't been there before and you knock off the number one team, storm the floor.
If you're like a Campbell who defeats Duke or something like that, even if they're not number one,
rush the floor for sure.
rush the floor.
But Utah State's okay. They're not like historically great, but they've been good in the last 5, 6, whatever decade. They've been solid, tournament kind of team.
They're all right.
Tyler, why are you rushing the floor? Because that's the reason why you see the dangers of it. Because I think some of the frustration with Jordan Caroline is that they rushed the floor and they were talking crap.
Talking shit, yeah.
And potentially dangerous situation, and they were mad they lost. Or at least if you're going to rush it, let the players, let Nevada get off the floor, then rush. Then I'm okay with that a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know where to stand on this. You have teams that have been so pampered that you don't storm the floor. No matter who you beat, you don't storm. But then these guys haven't won a game in the top 25 since 2007. Let them have some fun and the talking shit. You've got kids in the stands screaming, hooting, hollering the whole game. You're coming out of the tunnel. They're looking down at you. Whoa, giving it to you. Mm-hmm. When I went to Lawrence and watched them play Texas, they had longhorns and nooses. I mean, what can you not hear, after the game that you didn't hear for the first 40 minutes?
I think it's different when you're on the floor next to each other. When you're up in the stands, you're barricaded off. When you've got not just 1, 2, but you get a couple 100,000 people rushing at you, then the panic sets in, and it's fight or flight.
Yeah, you're in survival
And so
mode.
then it becomes dangerous.
It is to a T, but a lot of these kids that are in the stands are, your quote unquote nerdy kids, the foreign exchange students.
Yeah.
They pose no physical threat. They are going out there to celebrate with their team. So unless you put up a hockey style barricade, or you have 2 officers to every 1 person in that gym, I don't see how you can stop it.
It's dangerous.
I think what you do...
Danger has nothing to do with it. How are you going to implement something to stop it?
I think there's not a foolproof solution, but I think if you're going to rush, at least have a plan in place. So if you're Nevada, just say oh God, there's a potential that they might rush on us. So say we know we're going to lose, get the hell off the floor real quick.
Don't do the handshake, get out.
Yeah, get the hell off the floor, and just Utah State and them are going to have to understand. They're not going to care anyways. They just won.
Exactly.
So, like Utah or Nevada or whoever, just get the hell off the floor.
Yeah, get off the floor because it eliminates stuff like that, like dangerous stuff that when Indiana Christian Waffle hit that shot against Kentucky, who was it? Darius Miller that was on the ground? and
Yeah, he
got
was getting
run
trampled
over.
on, yeah.
That's stupid. At least let the players get off the floor before you do it. I personally don't like the rushing the floor, and I mentioned Indiana happened in that games too. But if I was there, I'd probably rush the floor as well. But
let's-
I'm not going to talk
let's
shit
go
to
ahead-
fucking other players. Come on now.
Let's go ahead and stick on the Indiana theme because I think this is as good a transition as anyone.
All right.
It's time for a fan favorite. Everybody knows we have people, you guys can vouch, we have people now weekly like, oh man, is my team going to be on this segment? Should they be shooting stars? Should they be... It's time for some shooting stars sinking ships. First up on the docket, I just go ahead and mention them. The Indiana Hoosiers. They're not completely dead. We've mentioned them. We put them out to the pasture last week, and they said, no, like the Undertaker, a hand through the grave.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Well, they're still alive somehow. 2 wins in a row against ranked teams. Somehow, their resume is just holding them together.
They look like Leo holding on to the edge of that door, boy. They're just waiting for the ship to come get them.
They're like, Rose, please don't let go.
Help me, Rose.
There's another boat. I swear I can make it. There's enough room. Indiana, though, holding together.
I don't.
They've went from dead on the sinking ships to up to the rising. First team on our shooting stars, Indiana. Man, what who would have thought this? Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, you put it on the Facebook group, giving a spoiler that Indiana's going to be on the Shooting Stars segment, and JRO mentioned him again. Said after 2 wins, well, it's 2 ranked opponents. So
Especially after the
JR
season they're having, I do not disagree with this one bit.
No.
Yeah, and when you said we're putting them on the Shooting Stars, I agree 100%.
As a matter of fact, here.
Golfers clap.
Bravo.
Golfers clap.
Bravo to IU, though, lose tomorrow against Illinois, or whenever they play.
Yeah.
But next up on the Shooting Stars segment, we got Texas Tech, Cook. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, won 7 in a row, and they lead the Big 12 Conference. Now, early on in the season, I was very high on Texas Tech, most because their defense, and they have a star player in Jarrett Culver, who's been playing well. And they've been a little bit off here for a while, but they won 7 in a row, and they lead the Big 12.
They're starting to get their defensive identity back, too. And we've mentioned it. After they beat Kansas, was it last week they beat them?
Yes.
We talked about
Didn't just beat them.
They whooped
Kicked their ass.
Right. And Tech's starting to look like the Tech that we were all real high on at the end of December. And that's dangerous. That's a team, Texas Tech, the way they're playing now, is a team that can make the Elite Eight, I think, is their ceiling. But with the right matchup, because the way things play out and their defense, and they've got a superstar in Jarrett Culver, could be an outside sleeper Final Four if the matchups fall right.
Very capable.
They made the Elite Eight last
Very
year.
capable. Yep.
So, Texas Tech's on the rise for sure.
They could be dangerous come tournament time. Good.
I think this is our first individual on the Shooting Stars, other than like one of us just throwing a little plug in there for getting 3 bank on us in a row, right? But not going to say anything about that, Tyler Cook. But we have an individual. Last week, we threw him on the sinking ships. I did personally, sorry.
There you go.
He went 1 for 20 from behind the arc. He tweets at me, just gives me the emoji. Tells me, shut my fucking mouth. Carson Edwards, on Saturday, had 25 points, 4 from 8 from deep. Wednesday, 23 points, 2 for 5. Shot 45% from behind the arc this week after shooting .08 the week before. I don't know that one, sorry, I'm just kidding. But 1 for 20 is not very good.
Hell no.
5%. There you go. There's just some math real quick off the top. Carson Edwards, you are on the Rising Stars. You have claimed back off of the sinking ships, and you are back on the right trajectory. You're not on the wooden watch yet. You're on the outside looking in. You got the big tournament to go up against Cassius Winston and show out.
That's
Carson
gonna be
Edwards, you are back alive.
The thing
I'll bring you back.
The thing I love about Carson Edwards is not only the fact he's a great scorer, but he takes the challenge of guarding the other team's best player. When they played Indiana last week, he was guarding Romeo.
Yeah.
And Romeo's got a size advantage, and Carson's like, I don't care. So, like, that matchup coming up with him and Cassius Winston, boy, that's going to be fun.
That's one of the most matchups I want to see. I want to see this one more than almost any other one in the country.
I'm pretty sure in the first matchup between Michigan State and Purdue, he guarded Cassius Winston.
Yeah, and that's why I love he's not afraid to go guard somebody
He's not
the
afraid.
superstar. So, that's a great one. On the other side, teams that have hit kind of a skid,
We did it at the same time.
Iowa was high on them. They had been playing well, and now they've lost 3 of their last 4. They've had their head coach suspended 2 games, their radio broadcaster suspended 2 games, the athletic department's being soft, SAWFT, soft. Iowa's just not playing well.
Rehearsed?
They've went from upper, getting that double bye in the Big Ten tournament. Now they're going to play. They'll still get a bye, but they're now in the middle of pack and made their path to winning a Big Ten title in the tournament that much harder. Going to have to figure out. Tyler Cook's a great player. Jordan Bohannon is shooting the ball really well, but you've mentioned it. Their only win in this 4-game stretch is at home against Indiana, and they barely squeaked it out. They needed Jordan Bohannon to hit 3 threes in a row and went for like 30.
Yeah.
Iowa needs to figure it out because you can't be – the worst thing in the world is to be limping into the NCAA tournament.
Exactly.
Oh.
You need to be hitting all cylinders. You don't need to be limping in. So Iowa's kind of hit that skid, fallen to the sinking ships.
Now, the next team on the sinking ships, oh boy, we got the state of Washington. Washington and Washington State. What the hell are you doing losing to California? And now, bum-ass Pac-12 conference. We've tore that conference up to shreds. We put it on a piece of paper and put it down a shredding machine.
Yeah.
It's garbage. Pac-12 is terrible. And California, I'm sorry to interrupt you. California was 0-11 in conference play. They couldn't win
23 game losing streak.
23-game losing streak.
Cal couldn't even beat Edinburgh right now.
Cal couldn't even beat freaking Eastside right now.
And
I know.
And Washington, the supposed best team inside the Pac-12, loses to Cal. That's terrible.
Bro, that's not conference play. That's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
That's garbage.
Awful.
Sinking ships, the state of Washington. I don't know how you losing to California.
Third and final sinking
Blind
ship
squirrel
team.
finds a nut every once in a while. There you go, Steve Todd. We got our third and final. Seton Hall. You were a bubble team, but you keep taking L's.
Yep.
I think it's popped.
Yep.
Sorry, Patrick Ewing and Matt McClung. I think you have. Never mind. That's Jordan.
That's
Jordan.
You got the wrong one.
Sorry.
Well, they just lost to Georgetown
That's right.
yesterday.
I just read that.
Yeah,
My
they
bad.
just lost
Wheels
to
are turning. We can't edit that out. We're live, guys. We got losses to Georgetown,
Yeah.
a loss to Xavier, and a loss to St. John's.
Yep.
You can't be losing when you're on the edge.
No.
And they have lost their edge, and they are out of the tournament as of right now.
Go ahead and tell them who, and it doesn't get any easier. Tell them who their final 2 games. They're at home, but who they in the regular season with?
The top 2 teams in the conference, Marquette and Villanova. It's
You got to win at least one,
At least one.
if not both.
Probably have to win both.
It's over, boys.
And this sucks because Seton Hall, I was really high on them after Louisville beat them, and then they beat Kentucky. They
also beat Maryland, too.
Beat Maryland, yeah. 2 quality wins right there. And Miles Powell, I was very high on him.
Pow!
It sucks. Whatever.
I tell you what doesn't suck is
What?
we're going to take one final pause for the cause. Let our friend, we've mentioned him before, Conrad Cushman, let you hear what he's got to say from Everything Pro Wrestling. We'll catch you on the flip side, closing this program out, our first edition collaboration with Premier Giant Productions. We'll see you in a second.
What's happening, college hoops fans? It is Conrad Cushman from the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast, and I'm here to tell you how you can follow Everything Pro Wrestling. First, go to your Facebook, type in the search bar, Everything Pro Wrestling. Look for our official page with over 1,000 likes and make sure you give it a like. Also, we have a closed group with over 200 members in it where you can join discussions and talk about anything and everything pro wrestling. We also have a Twitter handle, and that is at EPW Show. And we have a podcast, and the podcast is available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And remember, Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. Now let's get back to talking some college hoops.
Hey guys, Peyton here from ECB. I'm here to tell you about my wrestling podcast that's called The J3X Show. That's only on YouTube. You'll see predictions, pay-per-view reviews, and live streams on there. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Also, go follow the show on Twitter at J3X Show. Ooh, yeah, brother.
And we're back. It's been a great show so far.
It really has.
It's about time to start wrapping this thing up. But first, as always, we've got this coming in. This next week is the last week of the regular season. The finale. This is where all the conference races will be settled. This is where everything. And we have got throughout the week some incredibly good games that will just go a long way to determine these conference races. Tuesday, on Super Tuesday, a pair of games that are very interesting to determine, like I said, these conference races. We've got an ACC clash, number 20, Virginia Tech on the road at number 18, Florida State, both coming off nice wins, both playing well. Virginia Tech's, they've got good defense, but a high-powered offense against Florida State's crazy good defense. So it's like the meeting of the minds. Great offense, good defense. Florida State's at home athletic. Virginia Tech spreads you out. Florida State's bigger. This is going to be a very, very interesting one. It's not; these two aren't going to win the ACC, but it's jockeying for position, seed rankings inside the seeding inside their own conference. It's a lot of jockeying for position. Peyton, I'll start with you. You got a prediction on this one?
Well, Florida State, their last 12 games, they've won 10 of them. They're on a 10-game winning streak right now, and they're playing pretty well. So, with that being said, being at home, I got the Spartans. I got the Seminoles winning. Cook.
Virginia Tech, you just come off of that big win against Duke. Big win. I think you continue to ride that wave. You go into Florida State, and you take one, 4-point difference.
See, I'm iffy because both these teams kind of been up and down. I like Florida State at home. I like them protecting. Yeah. I like the defense. I like the length. I think a guy like Fiondu Kabengele, that's
great name.
He's playing well. I had like 16 yesterday, 16, 10, and 4 blocks, something like that. And I just like Florida State squeaking one out at home. We'll go. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think Florida State's want to smother them. We'll say the Seminoles 61, Virginia Tech 55. I think it's going to be one of those games.
65, 60.
Next one on the docket on Super Tuesday, Peyton.
We got big SEC clash. We got number 4 ranked Kentucky at the time going at Ole Miss. Hopefully Ole Miss don't throw any trash when they get beat because Kentucky's winning this game. Go ahead and say it right now.
I think you're right. I think, Tyler, we've mentioned it, and I'm a firm believer of it because it's been proven true the last couple of weeks especially. A team that loses their next game, they normally, especially a good team, not a bad team, but a good team. We've seen it with Kentucky, LSU, Tennessee inside the conference alone. Kansas has done it. Duke's done it. North Carolina. All these good teams, they normally, one, are embarrassed, pissed off, and then they bounce back and find a way to right the ship again. I think the Cats, maybe, and it's not just my homerism. I'm just saying the Cats go down to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is good. Ole Miss is a tough place to play. Ole Miss is good. I think they go down there and handle business. The Cats are back to smothering D, playing well. PJ will go for probably 25 again. He's had a couple not so good games he's been having. Cats 81, Ole Miss 70.
I say Kentucky 80, Ole Miss 73.
Ole Miss, you better fill your pockets full of trash if you're going to get your ass whooped again, because it's going to happen. Kentucky goes in there, I say 95-70.
I like that.
Ole Miss, you done pissed me off with that stupid crap you did.
Yeah, you deserve
so
your ass whooped.
It's going to happen. You're going to get beat. I don't see maybe not 25 points, but you're going to get whooped. Kentucky's going to get Reed back, I believe. He'll be back in there.
He should, right?
His progress coming along. They're just playing. They're playing the safe game.
Yeah.
They don't want to rush him back because a lot more important stuff's on the horizon.
Yep. And the important thing is, don't you throw no trash. You have to get your ass whooped.
Oh my God.
Here's a good one, Tyler, on Wednesday.
Number 13, LSU goes down to Florida.
Florida.
I believe LSU, as well as Florida's been playing, I know they faltered against Georgia on Saturday, but as well as LSU's been playing, I don't see how Florida gets this one. I believe LSU wins by 8 points. I'd say 68-60, 70-62, or in that range, mid to high range scoring. I think LSU goes and gets this one. I'm sorry, Justin. We got you. I'm sorry.
Now,
This is another revenge game, too.
another revenge game.
Yep.
Florida's been playing pretty well. You know, they was going to be on the shooting stars segment if they took care of business against Georgia, which they did not.
It's a bad loss, dude.
Dude,
At
Georgia's
home,
terrible.
At home, Georgia beat them. It held them to 55 points.
Terrible.
Bad loss.
That's a bad loss for Florida. As far as prediction-wise, Tremont Waters just now came back. He played against Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alabama.
off the bench.
Off the bench, he had like 5 points. Obviously, not rushing him into things. Played 24 minutes, actually. So he's going to be back for this game. I got LSU winning by 11.
I think we're going to take a clean sweep. I've got LSU getting the revenge. It's going to be close. Florida, the O-Dome is extremely hard to play at. That crowd gets lit. They get wild. I like LSU. I think LSU's too much. They're too much firepower. And with this win, I'll go ahead and say it. With this win, LSU clinches the SEC with 1 game left because they're a game in hand on Tennessee and Kentucky. And they're tied with Tennessee, and they're a game in hand on Kentucky. They go down to Florida. Their last of their last 2 is their toughest one left. If they get the win on the road at Florida, then they get to come home against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Struggling Vanderbilt team right now. They'll smack Vanderbilt. I like LSU winning. I like LSU taking the conference with this win.
If LSU wins the last 2 games against Florida, especially this one, I think they win the conference as well. But if you're a Kentucky fan, you really need Florida to win this.
Oh, God, absolutely.
You really need Florida to win this.
You need Florida to win, and Tennessee's remaining schedule
It's brutal.
They've still got Auburn, or Mississippi State and Auburn.
Mississippi State and
So
Auburn.
there's chances they could lose 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're as a Kentucky fan,
Mississippi State's they play Tennessee's at home with that one.
Yeah.
and then
For Mississippi State,
on
and
the
then
road
at
against Auburn,
Auburn.
I think.
Yeah.
It should be Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So that Mississippi
Yes,
State
they
game's
are on the
Sunday night.
road.
And both of them teams are quality. As a Kentucky fan, the ideal situation. The Cats win their final 2. They beat Ole Miss and they
Ole
beat
Miss,
Florida.
yeah.
LSU loses to Florida. I mean, really loses to Vandy too because the tiebreaker would go LSU. But at least lose to Florida. And Tennessee loses to Mississippi State. Auburn, Kentucky shares the conference with LSU.
So you can,
Not going to happen. I think LSU wins. LSU wins the conference on Wednesday, my opinion.
I do too. I think if they win this game, they clinch it.
And the other big game throughout the week, it's another iffy one. Teams that's been up and down. You got number 22 Iowa on the road at number 19 Wisconsin. This is a toss-up game in my opinion because this year, traditionally, the Kohl Center in Wisconsin, a brutal place to play at and get a win. But the last season or 2, season and a half, more teams are going in and winning. You just don't know what team's showing up between Iowa or Wisconsin.
Nope.
If you gun to my head, I go Wisconsin holding home court. Iowa's struggling, as we mentioned, lost 3 of the last 4. I go Wisconsin squeaking one out, probably in an ugly old school Big Ten game. Wisconsin 57, Iowa 56. Just probably really, really bad ball.
I see this game being close for the first half, but I see Wisconsin will pull it out at the end, start pulling away. And for some reason, I can't think of the dude's name. What's Wisconsin's Big Ten player's name?
Hap.
Ethan Happ.
Ethan Happ.
I think he's going to have 20 plus. He's going to have a hell of a game, and Wisconsin's going to beat him by 9 points.
From one Tyler Cook to another.
Oh, my.
I dub you the Cook. I will not sue Iowa. Until you graduate, you're the only one that can do it. I need to see 3 or 4 of these shot, 3 or 4 of them made by you, Mr. Cook. My doppelganger. Iowa goes into Wisconsin, pulls it out, 55-53. Cook finish by Cook.
You know, real quick, before we move on to the bank on it segment, there's a couple things I wanted to pop in here that's really interesting. I think you guys might enjoy. There's 4 active coaches with at least 15 years experience that have 0 losing seasons. Keep in mind how hard it is to just win games, let alone not have a losing season with 15 plus years experience. Tom Izzo, no surprise. Roy Williams, been so great at Kansas and North Carolina. Mark Few, great at Gonzaga. This other one's going to surprise you.
Yes.
I surprised them when I hit him with
Surprised
it
me,
last
yeah.
night. Mike Anderson from Arkansas.
Razorbacks.
Not a losing
Big
season yet. He's been at least 500 or better his whole entire tenure.
It's crazy.
Absolutely insane.
When you asked me that, I got 3 out of 4 right. Did not get the Arkansas coach right. I had no clue.
Absolutely. Now here's a segment that causes a lot of controversy. This is a segment where we kind of let our balls hang out a little bit. This is a segment Tyler's been really well on. Peyton's been
three in a
trash
row.
on, and
You
Tyler's
don't
been
gotta
really
say
well.
that. My boss has been cut off. You don't gotta say that.
I've been up and down. This is bank on it. Bank on it. And I'll have the honor of going first here. Saturday, we have the second edition of this year's rivalry between Duke, Carolina. I'm just going to tell you now, game of the day. So go ahead and mark it down. Final week of the pick'ems.
Obviously.
It will be the game of the day.
Obviously.
And it deserves it. I mean, it's going to be a top 10 matchup, all that. The first matchup, we had all that controversy. Zion goes out 36 seconds in, blows shoe, controversy abound. I've personally said Zion should not play, but for my bank on it. Poetic, it's kind of a Hollywood script. He goes out against Carolina, question marks, Carolina smacks Duke. The game's in return, in Chapel Hill this time. Zion makes his return, suiting up for the Blue Devils to seek revenge against North Carolina. Not only does he play, he's going to drop 35 or more. 35 or more on the Tar Heels. Blue Devils get the revenge. I'll say it now. Zion goes for at least 35 or more and probably 15 rebounds. Probably 2-3 blocks. He's going to be Mr. Everything out there. You have a guy like Luke May, not going to go off like he does because Zion's going to be guarding him. Bank on it. Take it to the bank. Zion plays against Carolina, goes for 35 or more. Take it to the bank.
I hope he gets 34 points.
Well, it's still smash Carolina if he does.
Yes, sir.
Good.
3 in a row, boys. 3 in a row. I'm letting them hang out. I'm going a double header on this one to solidify my place on the Mount Rushmore of bank on it's. We have this right here is something I personally need. We have a double header at 9 o'clock tomorrow, ESPN and ESPN2. Tune in, check them out if you ain't got nothing going on. This is a pre-birthday present for me. Texas
Happy birthday.
is going to deliver and help me out. Knocking off number 11, Texas Tech, on the road and gets the victory. Knocks Texas Tech back a little bit. Other side, my other one, TCU at home against Kansas State. Smacks them. Helps me out. Puts Kansas back in a tie atop the nation, or atop the conference, and continues the streak for me. Bank on it. Texas knocks off Texas Tech. TCU goes in and gets Kansas State. Double whammy. There it is. Bank on it. Cash it in.
Interesting. Relying on some other teams to help the Jayhawks out. Very interesting.
First time in like 87 years.
Maybe they'll conspire just to ruin the streak, and the teams that play Texas Tech, they're like, we'll actually lose for you.
You
It's
fucking
okay.
know what? I guarantee you something like that could happen.
No, I wouldn't put. You just can't
Corporate.
put anything past.
Stupid little bastards. You better not do it.
They're like, oh, Texas Tech, will just hook us up here in a little bit and return the favor when we need it. We'll make sure we lose to you.
Shaka Smart, I'll get your ass. Don't you do it.
Nah, he's too much of a competitor. He'll play.
I know it.
He'll play. Peyton, you got that smug grin on your face. What's your bank on it? You actually gonna get one right, or are you gonna let the people down again?
So
If Noah and Premier Giants put their faith in your predictions, they wouldn't have a nice studio.
close the shit down. So I ain't getting right. This one got you kind of hurts a little bit, but I think it's going to happen. It probably will happen. Actually, probably won't, knowing my luck. But this Saturday, Virginia versus Louisville, round 2. Virginia beat Louisville by 12, 64-52 in the first matchup at the Yum Center. Now Louisville travels to Virginia. Listen, I don't think we're going to beat Virginia. I do not think we're going to beat Virginia. I don't think it's really going to be close. Virginia will beat Louisville by 10 or more. And this ain't going to be like a Cook thing where I say something different and then change my mind later in the program. No, this is final bank on it. That's my final thought. Virginia will beat Louisville by 10 plus or more. And that kind of hurts. Reality, Louisville's not playing their best. Got beat by Boston College. That Duke loss is torn mentally. And it's just not, I don't know.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Let's see how well it plays out for him on the ESPN Ocho.
Wrapping this thing up. Final thoughts. Peyton, go ahead and let the people know.
Final thoughts. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for watching the first live podcast episode. It's been fun. I've had a lot of fun, actually. I was very excited to do this. Also, thank you, Noah Weddle and Premier Giant Productions for joining forces with us to create magic and giving us this platform with this amazing equipment and overlays and that look dope and letting us show what magic we can make with the right people and equipment. So thank you all, and be prepared for a lot more content coming soon. You know, you got Selection Sunday in 2 weeks. 14 days. Oh my Lord. So I promise you, you guys won't be disappointed. We have content coming. Final thought.
It's a lot. Tyler, that's a lot of cum.
Damn. Yeah, I can tell.
Bluetooth sponsor us.
Oh, come on. We need Circle K first. But
Anybody.
I went on a little rant last week, and I believe it needs to happen again. Some teams don't know how well they have it. You have these blue chip, blue blood teams. You know, you got the Dukes, the North Carolinas, Kansas, Kentucky. You got these teams that no matter who they beat, they do not rush the floor. It's just not what you do. And a lot of us are fans of those teams. But then when you have a team like Utah State who hasn't beat anybody ranked in the top 25 in 12 years, shut up and let them run the floor. And if you're going to be a player and you're going to go in and throw a fucking temper tantrum and hit stuff and act like a tough guy and have your coaches hoot and holler at cops who should have just tased your ugly ass, then so be it. You just need to learn. These are kids. These are kids that are having fun. I'll argue with you till you're blue in the face. You're not going to change my mind. If you're a team that's been there and done that, you absolutely should not rush the floor. But when you have a team in Utah State who has not done anything like this in such a long time, let them have their fun. Let them play. So unless you're going to put up hockey-style barriers or you're going to have cops there from the entire city armed to the teeth with paintball guns, tasers, whatever you want to do, you are not going to stop something like this. So with that being said, I can agree and don't agree with it, but with teams like this, you need to let it play. Let them have fun. You know, my little anger let out. This has been awesome experience for us. I hope the seats behind us are filled, you know, with the views coming on. I hope this is very cool. This is a very cool experience. You know, we see the green screen, but I hope you guys like what you've seen on the flip side. Here at Premier Giant Studios, you know, the production's been awesome. He also does weddings. You know, if you have a wedding, Weddings by Weddle. If you have somebody or you know somebody getting married or you personally are, hit him up. He's got his group on Facebook. He got this. He's got that. He's got everything. He's filling up quick, too. We spoke on it before the thing. If you're looking into it, you better get on the ball because he'll do you a good job, but he's filling up, guys. So with that being said, I'm glad that we got a chance to do this and hopefully many more to come. I hope you guys both enjoyed this as well. So this has been a very cool experience. It's a little bit of a different experience. I'm not sitting on the edge of a bed and a cat popping out and scaring the piss out of me, which
I'm sorry for
I about flipped the whole laptop over that last time.
Oh my God.
Or I don't have, or we're not in the kitchen where my wife's over trying to cook food and keep quiet. So this has been a very cool experience, and I hope you guys like it. We got more to come.
You know, to piggyback off that, we, and I'll look directly to you guys when I tell you this. That way you can actually see this. Normally, whenever we tell you this, you can't see the expression. but hopefully you can read my face when I tell you, we've promised you, those who've been on this journey with us, we started this at the end of November, and we've promised you each and every week and throughout the group that we will continue to put the best product forward for you. Without you, we have no problem or no product. And this right here is number one because you guys are our audience. You've kind of pushed us to this point. You've made Noah and Premier Giant take notice of us, and we've begun to work together. This is only the start. This is only year one. This is a start. The podcast we said the podcast may not be like this, but we're working on a show to do weekly, bi-weekly for you guys that's like this. This partnership between Everything College Basketball and Premier Giants is going to elevate the game for us, for them, for Everything Pro Wrestling, for Applied Right Painting Services, anybody else that tags along with us. Our ceilings continue to go up because of this. We can't thank you enough. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and let's continue to enjoy this ride.
Yep.
As far as the basketball side of things, we mentioned it. This is the final week of regular season. Then we move on to conference tournaments next week. 2 weeks. We will be here watching Selection Sunday. 68 teams will figure out their destiny. Handful of more teams are going to have their hearts broken.
Experience heartbreak.
Our formatting will change just a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the tournament coming up, we won't be able, if we could record on Sunday, but it'd have to be real late night because of the tournaments, all that. So for a little bit during the tournament, we'll go to Monday so we can encapsulate everything. This is the best time of year, people. This is the reason why you join this group. This is the reason why you listen to us. This is March. This means something. All the stuff in the past was nice and filler. This is a time where it matters. This is a time where heroes are made and legends are born.
Legends will rise.
This is a time where bullshit stops and everything becomes real. Follow us, join us on the ride, continue to support us, support the people that are with us, and between us and Premier Giant Productions, we will continue to bring the best content, the best atmosphere, and the absolute best college basketball talk and knowledge that you'll get that's not on a national network yet.
Yet. Keyword yet.
We coming for you.
We come for that booty.
So with that being said, for our debut with Premier Giant Productions and the Premier Giant Studios, Josh Burton.
Peyton Burton.
Mr. Tyler Cook.
And we will catch you next week with another edition
You can
of
see us
Everything College Basketball.
That's all, folks.